class is in session. This is the Draft Seminar Rookie Profile Series hosted by Matt Hicks, the FF Educator, and I am joined, as always, by John Laub, the Gridiron Scholar. On this episode, we are diving into Kenneth Walker, John, the Heisman Challenger running back out of Michigan State. He took the college football world by storm, and now it's time to break him down here for his rookie profile. Before we jump into that, I want to make sure everybody knows that the Rookie Profile series is being simulcast on the Rookie Big Board YouTube channel, the Rookie Big Board podcast, as well as the NFL Draft Bible podcast network. And you can check out more of John's work at footballdiehards.com. And you can check out all of my rookie content, including my 85 final rookie evaluations and my 2022 rookie rankings at patreon.com/the FF Educator. John, Kenneth Walker took college football by storm. Did he take over your heart as well?
He did. And if you remember, on a Friday night, on his very first carry against Northwestern, I turn on the TV. He takes it 75 yards for a touchdown. And Kenneth Walker was in 80% of college fantasy football leagues available on the waiver wire. That night, he ended up with 264 yards and 4 touchdowns. Became a must pick up. However, from a scouting standpoint, it was the game against Miami. 27 carries, 172 yards. That's when, Matt, I started to move him up my Devy rankings and said this young man is a much better player than I thought at Wake Forest, and he's legitimate. So I had to make sure I watched him and took a lot of notes throughout the year. Hey, as I said, he was a Demon Deacon, and he transferred to Michigan State. Don't really know what happened as a member of the Demon Deacons. It's fascinating how little they used him there. But he came in as a Spartan. He rushed for 1,646 yards, Matt, with 18 touchdowns on the ground.
Ridiculous.
13 catches for 89 yards and a touchdown. Now, the Spartans have been around. They're a Big Ten luminary, been around for over a century. That was the 4th all-time single-season rushing yard mark at Michigan State. Just incredible. He was the Walter Camp Player of the Year and Doak Walker Award winner. He was the first Spartan ever to win the Walter Camp Award. I mean, that's just blows my mind, because you would just think that Michigan State had a running back who did it in the 50s or something like that. Never happened. Big Ten Co-Offensive Player of the Year, the Big Ten Amici Dane Running Back of the Year, consensus first-team All-American, and all Big Ten. Matt, when the dust settled, he ended up in my top 3 running back prospects. And I went back. I had to watch tape at Wake Forest. I really don't have an explanation for what Dave Clawson was doing. He never became the undisputed leader there. It really doesn't make a lot of sense. In 2 seasons, he gained 1,158 yards and 6 touchdowns. Even as a freshman, he set a school record with a 96-yard touchdown against Rice. I mean, he was good when given the opportunity, Matt, but he just didn't get the opportunity. And in high school, he was a 3-star recruit from 24/7 Sports, team captain, and the 104th rated player in Tennessee. I'll say this. This is why it's so important that the transfer portal is open and allows young men like Kenneth Walker to take advantage. For whatever happened at Wake Forest, he took advantage at Michigan State, and here he is.
Absolutely. Jumping into his film breakdown here, John, we have a tape score of 82-1. That's a really good score for running backs. Similar to you right now, Kenneth Walker sitting there in my top 3. And it starts, John, with his explosiveness. He pops right off the line of scrimmage. He has consistent burst to his game. He gets into the second level of the field very quickly, and he turns upfield with another extra gear here. So it's a very explosive running style. He has good vision, John. That is a really highly weighted factor for me when it comes to the running back position. He sees the field really well. He'll find small gaps and explode through them. Now, he understands when to hit the A-gap. He can read well when to bounce it to the outside. He never tries to do too much. He knows when to put his head down and when to get the extra yards, but he has a really good feel for the game. You mentioned it earlier, John, but if you want to see him absolutely navigate the field with ease, flip on the Northwestern game. And it was right at the beginning of the season, and it just looks like somebody playing at a totally different level of competition. And look at his strength here. It's really strong. He's an aggressive. He's a physical runner. He absorbs contact really well. He takes on Big 12 linebackers, John, without any fear because he has great lower body confidence. I think he could be a really viable goal line threat in the NFL. We know those touchdowns are crucial for fantasy football points. He's got a high motor, and he finishes through the end of plays. Now, here's where I'm a little worried about Kenneth Walker. I'm not sure he's going to go to Indianapolis and test the best, right? And so I'm worried about the 40 time. He's not a burner. Now, he can beat linebackers to the edge. He can accelerate well in a straight line, but I'm not sure he's going to outrun NFL DBs. So it'll be interesting to see that 40 time and his athleticism, John. It's a little bit stiff. He can be an upright runner. Now, he does have some subtle slipperiness. His change of direction can be slow at times, right? And so I think that is where his draft stock may get quelled a little bit, but still a very exciting player. And let's dig a little bit deeper into those numbers.
Matt, it really is a tale of two careers for this young man. And I recommend anyone watch some tape from Wake Forest. He's a different back at Michigan State. The scheme and the coaching staff just used him in a much more efficient manner. The run blocking, they allowed him to, it looked like to me he was more physical. He had, like you talked about, vision. He looked like he improved dramatically, but the scheme and the coaching staff. So watch both sets of tape, but look at the last season, Matt. His numbers jump off the page. 1,735 yards from scrimmage, 34% scrimmage yards dominator. I mean, he really was the offense at the end of the year, and they could throw the football.
Yeah, they weren't afraid.
Ineffective, but they got the ball into his hands. Now, one red flag, and we've seen this with Jonathan Taylor. We've seen this over the years, Matt. Just because the raw numbers say 19 receptions doesn't mean he can't pass catch. Between Wake Forest and Michigan State, they didn't throw the ball a lot. Now, he's not elite like we were talking about Najee Harris last year, anything like that. But I believe he can be effective. But that's a little bit of a red flag. You mentioned goal line. Look at that, 36 career touchdowns. I love his short yardage. He has power, punch. He has good vision at the goal line. I think that's an underrated skill, Matt. People talk about like that's not something they believe in. If you watch 40 years of football, there are goal line running backs, you know, and Kenneth Walker has that skill, and he should be able to do short yardage and goal line. I like this, even considering Wake Forest. He averaged 5.8 yards per carry, Matt. What is fascinating, looking at the numbers, you have the raw numbers, but if you watch Kenneth Walker, he hit some home runs. We mentioned a 95-yard or 75-yard touchdown and then a 96-yard touchdown. He has this incredible burst once he gets to the second level. And, you know, he doesn't get caught on tape. I worry about his pure athleticism also and maybe with that speed. But I'll say this. He has football speed, Matt. He doesn't seem to get caught from behind too much. And once he feels that end zone, he goes for it. I like this young man a lot. I do think with the devaluation of the running back in today's game, he's going to fall further than people might think unless one team falls in love with the Matt. But what do our viewers need to know from a fantasy perspective?
Absolutely, John. You alluded to it well. I currently project him out as a day 2 late NFL draft pick, and so that's anywhere from picks 50 overall to 102 overall. They bucket into the same draft capital valuation for me. Keeping that in mind, I have Kenneth Walker projected as a weekly starter for the running back position. You're looking at anywhere from running back 18 to 32, somewhere in that range. You know, you can put him out there consistently. He's going to have some running back 1 weeks, but there's going to be other weeks where, depending on volume and depending on getting stonewalled from the goal line, he might not register as a running back, 36 or better that week, right? So I think there's going to be a little variability. Of course, this is all without knowing landing spot, but either way, John, somebody that is going to be worthwhile in drafting high in your rookie drafts and having on your roster. Speaking of which, I'm projecting his rookie ADP in Superflex leagues as a mid-first round selection. I think he's going to fall somewhere. He could go as high as 103 in some leagues. I know there are folks that really like Kenneth Walker. I think he could slide as far as 107 or 108 in other leagues. I do think he has a nice floor there at 108, 109, and certainly would be a great value if you were able to get him any later than that. I think I'm going to have a mid-level of exposure to him. I like Kenneth Walker. I'm in on Kenneth Walker. I would rather wait until the mid or late first round and draft Kenneth Walker than draft a running back at 101 at today's date. But I think there are folks who like Kenneth Walker even more than me. So it'll be interesting, John, to compare how that translates here over time. And of course, over time, we're going to want to make sure that you listen in here and check out the entire Rookie Profile series. So make sure you're subscribed no matter where you're listening. Make sure you're leaving a like on the video. Make sure you're leaving us a review if you're listening. And as always, we appreciate you checking out this episode of the Rookie Big Board.